I've spoken previously about the importance of getting really good medical work experience before you apply to medical school, and if you haven't seen that video, it's linked down in the description. This is intended as a follow-up to that video and is going to go through how you can actually maximise the amount of good experience you get out of it. And I just wanted to share these little tips with all of you because, at least in my case, it made the experience that bit much more positive. The first thing I'm going to start with, and this should go for most things in life really, is if an opportunity is offered to you, take it. If you've been lucky enough to get that medical work experience in the first place, whether it's shadowing a doctor or another health professional or working in a nursing home or something, if a member of staff offers you one of these chances, you should, embrace it with open arms, because this does two major things by my reckoning. The first thing is that it shows that you respect what they're doing for you. They are taking time and effort out of their day. They probably do not need to interact with you in any significant way, but it shows that you respect what they're attempting to do for you. And of course, the second and more obvious thing is that it allows you the chance to try something new and get an experience that you wouldn't normally be able to. And remember, as I said in the last video, the point of all this, the point of even getting medical work experience in the first place, is to allow you to make a much more informed decision. If you can go into as many new things as possible, take away the positives and the negatives, they get added to the list of things that you've seen. You're essentially a much more informed consumer. You're more able to make that decision properly. But if you wall yourself off from some things, be it through, I'm not going to say laziness, because I don't think most people watching this will be of that mindset, but even unfounded apprehension, you just might miss one of those fundamental experiences that tells you that medicine is the career for you. And this actually brings me to one of my own experiences, and it highlights, I think, the importance of, even if you are apprehensive or a bit scared of dealing with something, you still should take the chance. So what happened to me? I was volunteering. I'm sure I was 16 at the time this happened. I was volunteering in a nursing home, and that specialised in people with sort of neurodegenerative conditions. And I volunteered there 1 day a week for a year. This was during the first year of my A-levels, but I got to know most of the residents quite well, because I was mainly just spending time talking to them and entertaining them. But it just came up 1 week when I was there that one of the patients that I grew quite close to, they asked me to help them kill themselves. And as I say, I was 16 at the time. This was quite traumatic. And there's a lot to unpack there as well about that situation, and I'm much better able to sort of think about it more globally as I look back on it. But given where I was working, there's a very good chance that they had some sort of neurological impairment. Maybe their thought process wasn't as coherent as it could be. Maybe they had dementia. Maybe they were depressed. Maybe they had everything. Or equally, perhaps they were perfectly sane and they simply just wished to die, as a lot of people, express that they do when they get to that point. They just want to not have to experience the isolation and the lack of independence and the constant pain that these people can experience. And I remember quite vividly at the time being really shocked, as I think is fair enough for a 16-year-old in that situation. On the one hand, it's amazing that they're putting that level of trust in me in that position, but then looking at that, is that something that they think I'd be willing to go through with to help someone end their life? That's pretty awful. And I really struggled to deal with it in that scenario. And I don't know that I dealt with it particularly well. I felt pretty upset at the time. I went and told a staff member, one of the nurses who was there. I said to them what had happened, and I went home because it felt like a really important thing at the time, and I knew that I needed to think about it. I didn't really know why. I guess this was before I started being able to consider these things properly. But I think one of the main reasons, truth be told, why I struggled with it was that this was obviously really quite early on in the inspiration part of wanting to go to medical school and become a doctor, because I had in my head that it was all sunshine and rainbows, doctors make people better and everyone lives forever. And it all just kind of changes when you go into an environment like that and you're surrounded by people who, for better or worse, they're essentially waiting to die at that point, and it's all palliative care and making sure that they're comfortable when that time does come. And it forced me to have a really good look around, you know, at what I was actually seeing. These people had very little quality of life, no independence whatsoever. And these are not things that were by any stretch of the imagination the fault of the care providers. They did a fantastic job, but again, some of them had no family ever coming to see them. They couldn't eat by themselves, they couldn't think coherently, and some of the ones that did have family coming to see them couldn't recognise them anyway when they did turn up. There was an old man there, well, obviously all the men there were old, but his daughter came to see him one week, and he was really excited about it. He knew that his daughter was coming to visit him. She turned up, I took her through, and he sort of said in front of her, you know, I'm really excited, my daughter's coming, obviously not recognising his daughter for who she was. And she was just used to it, you know, she was like, oh, it's been like this for some time. But for me, seeing it for the first time, I've never forgotten it. And these are the kind of experiences that stick with you. But moving back to the idea of seizing opportunities, if there's something you really want to see or do, and it's within the ability of the care providers to let you do it, communicate that to the staff. Because I think if you show that initiative, that curiosity and that drive, I certainly think if I were a medical professional in that situation where I had the capacity to have someone shadow me, I'd be really impressed and, you know, would be really on board. Yeah, let's get you stuck in. But the very final thing, and for me, at least based on my own experience, by far the most important thing, is that you must take some time to reflect on what you've done and what you've learned from it. I still have somewhere a pile of notes. I wrote down after my work experience every single day what I'd done that day, and again what I'd tried to take away from it so that I could be better in the future. The process is actually formally known as reflection, and I've been doing it since then quite regularly. The blog and the videos have been a fantastic opportunity for me to practice it, but it really changes your life once you start doing it regularly. I realised looking back on it that every day how much sensory information and experience we're exposed to on that daily basis, and how much of it you forget instantly. And I've done it still whenever I've been in bedside teaching now. You know, I went in today, I did this. Who was my patient today? What was their story? What can I take away from this in order to become a better medical student, so eventually I can become a better doctor? And of course this isn't just for personal benefit, because in your personal statement, when you're actually applying to medical school and saying, look, I want you to invest in me and train me to be a doctor, you need to recognise what you've learned from your work experience, what you've seen, and providing evidence for this within the context of that personal statement. Show that you've taken it all on board, you've made your decision based on some good experience and not just an inkling. You've been out there, you've investigated, this is what I saw, this is what I learned, this is what I think about myself going forward. That's a really crucial part of the project, and it's something that if you do get to medical school, you'll have to be doing for the rest of your career. And if you get into the habit of doing that, just take it from me, it really does fundamentally change the way you look at things. And on that note, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to hit that like button for me, leave a comment, subscribe, and don't forget to go and check out PostGradMedic.com for my daily med school blogs and loads more videos beside this one. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.